The brand new Toledo-built Jeep Cherokee now in dealer showrooms. 13 ABC has ordered a couple of those mid-size SUVs.
And we had the rare opportunity to follow one of our new SUVs as it was being made and to talk with some of the men and women who build them. And
13 ABC's Lisa Gaertner covers the Jeep beat for us, and she joins us live with the first part of our Inside Jeep, the Toledo Tradition series. And Lisa, it sounds like really was quite an experience for you.
It was amazingly, and Diane, I've covered the Jeep plant for more than a decade, but this was a first for me because we spent days in the plant and nothing was off limits. Most of us don't think much about getting in our cars and turning them on every day, but wait until you see what it takes to get to that point. Our 13 ABC parking lot is full of Jeeps, but the nameplates on some of them are changing. As our Liberty fleet ages, we're replacing them with Cherokees. And we're taking you along for the ride as we follow our very first one down the assembly lines. Most of us don't think much about what it takes to put our vehicle together, but it's amazing just how much goes into getting a Cherokee from the plant to the showroom.
I've been with the company, as you know, over 26 years, and it's still exciting every day that I come in here, especially now in Toledo, with us having the opportunity to build a brand new vehicle.
It's a truly impressive process getting to the finished product. Takes about a day and a half to build a Cherokee from the ground up, and it all starts right here in the body shop.
This is really the heart and soul of Jeep, is in the body shop.
It begins with the underbody, and as it moves through the line, various parts and panels like doors, hoods, and lift gates are put on. And the Cherokee starts to take shape.
Everything you see in here used to be done by hand in the old plant. All the spot welds, over 4,000 of them on a car, were all done by hand. Now it's all robotic.
Once the robots have the frame together, skilled workers called Tech 1 step in.
They are the last people to touch the car before it heads to paint. What they do is they look for any blemishes, any stamping issues, any imperfection in the sheet metal. If you'll see, they wear cotton gloves, so as you run your hand across the surface, you'll be able to feel any imperfection.
With all this sheet metal comes a lot of safety procedures.
In some areas of the plant, they have to take extra safety precautions. Anyone who handles sheet metal has to wear Kevlar arm sleeves and Kevlar gloves at all times because sheet metal is obviously razor sharp.
Different gloves for different areas, depending on what piece of the car you're handling. Fenders, you might wear a smaller glove. If you're handling body sides, you might wear something heavier.
This plant, out of all assembly plants, has the best safety record in all of Chrysler.
With the new Cherokee line came a brand new 500,000 square foot expansion here in the body shop.
This whole deck is all brand new, never been done in any other body shop. We can reroute the car 4 or 5 different directions.
There's also a brand new metrology lab. Metrology is the science of measurements. In the lab, they make sure every square inch of the car comes together perfectly before it hits the lines.
This is very new for us down in Toledo. It gives us a great opportunity to really up the quality level of the vehicle for our customers.
A lot of us told our high school geometry teachers that we would never need it in the real world. And for many of us, that's true. However, here in the metrology lab, it is critical when it comes to building cars.
We're into heavy statistics here. We analyze data, regression analysis, all these terms that people don't know what it's all about, right? All the measurements we do really relate to a lot of functional stuff, the ride and drive of the vehicle, the interior of the vehicle, the sound quality.
From the metrology lab to the body shop, the Cherokee is reinvigorating a lot of workers.
With a new vehicle, it's like a new experience. Even for the older guys like me, it's fun to launch something and then see it succeed out there.
Now, as I mentioned, we were given access to the entire plant, and one of the areas we went into most Jeep workers have never even seen. Tomorrow night at 6, we'll show you the elaborate 12-hour process to paint the Cherokees, and you'll be surprised by some of the things they're using in the paint shop, including emu feathers. Reporting live, Lisa Gaertner, 13 ABC, Action News.
The Toledo Assembly Complex, really a massive operation. As we first reported earlier this year, once production of both the Wrangler and the Cherokee is at full throttle, it'll likely be the largest assembly plant in America, building 500,000 vehicles a year.
13 ABC's Lisa Gaertner covers the Jeep beat. She and videographer Todd Gaertner got a rare look behind the scenes as crews build one of our new 13 ABC Cherokees. And Lisa, we followed our new Jeep in the body shop last night. Where to tonight?
Well, it's now onto the paint process, Diane, and it takes a lot longer than you might imagine, and quite a bit of help from robots to get that perfect paint job. They're also doing things in the Cherokee paint shop that are not happening anywhere else, and it's a place not a lot of people get to see. There's not much fanfare on the outside of the Cherokee paint shop. In fact, you'd probably pass right by it without a second thought. It's a much different story on the inside.
We don't let a lot of traffic go through. We don't let a lot of tours go through.
And because of that, most people who work here at the plant have never even seen the paint shop. The work done here is a 12-hour process that involves a lot of specialized paint, as well as clear coat, ovens, and even emu feathers. More on those feathers later.
A lot of people think we just kind of shoot some paint on the car and off it goes, but it's really a long process that we have to go through in order to prep the metals.
It all starts with what's called a body in white, meaning fresh metal. The first step is the cleaning stage.
It's cleaned with soaps and water. It goes into a phosphate stage, which is the first coating that goes on the paint. We dip everything so it gets into the nooks and crannies of the car, and then we go into an e-coat system, electrostatic coating, which also dips into a tank. And what that does is it protects the car from rusting, the interior and the exterior.
From there, the actual painting process begins.
This is the base coat area, and at the other end of the booth is the clear coat, which is where that two-part component is that gives it the nice shine. So this is where they do the colors that they have robots as far as with the arms, the guns we call them, and they have overhead and side bells. So each station as it goes through applies, they open up the hood, they open up the swing gate, the lift gate rather, and they apply certain material depending on what the color of the vehicle is.
Long gone are the days of hand sprayers. The painting is now done by robots. Some of them even open the doors for each other.
We have no painters in the booth. I mean, it's all automated, it's all robots and bells. So much friendlier to the worker, obviously, and for the customer, a much better paint job.
There are 4 separate ovens. Workers say they bake the Cherokee just like a cake with a set time and temperature. Things like anti-chip powder, top coat, and foam for sound deadening are applied in between those ovens.
Most automakers put an underbody coating on their vehicles. However, most of them don't do it the way they do it here at the Toledo Assembly Complex. As you can see, they actually flip the vehicles over to apply that coating. It's a process that's better for both the workers and the consumers.
We flip the car to make it ergonomically friendly for the operators. And then we also apply underbody coatings for sound deadening. And as this car comes out, it flips back over. The coatings makes it very tight as you're going through and driving the car later on.
It's very easy for our operators to grab their part and put it right on the car. So instead of going back and getting a table, we now have everything in front of us to work.
And now back to those emu feathers and the job they do here at the paint shop.
Those are called feather dusters. They actually, as the car goes through, they touch every surface of the exterior of the car. They remove any fine particles of dirt and kind of decharge the car as it comes into the booth so that the finish is going to be clean and free of foreign material.
And through all the cleaning, painting, and baking, workers have a fierce loyalty to the Cherokee and Jeep.
We look at these vehicles as if they're our own. You know, we really take that kind of pride in them. I'm the biggest cheerleader of all of our products, you know, and I don't even let other products park in my driveway.
So our 13 ABC Cherokee is almost finished, but before we show you the final assembly line, we'll introduce you to more of the people who make the Toledo Assembly Complex an extraordinary plant. Tomorrow at 6, you'll meet men and women who have extensive histories at the plant, including one man whose family member worked there before they built cars. Reporting live, Lisa Gaertner, 13 ABC Action News.
Every single part of that report was interesting and just amazing.
Yeah, they're so proud, and they should be,
Well,
of the product they're making out there.
We've been taking you along for the ride as Jeep workers build our new 13 ABC Jeep, and as you've seen, it's an incredible process. Tonight we focus on some of the men and the women who are building the new Cherokee.
13 ABC's Lisa Gaertner all over the Jeep beat for us. She joins us live with tonight's Inside Jeep, the Toledo tradition. Lisa, an amazing history at Toledo Jeep.
And it's a multi-generational history, Lee, for a lot of families. Right now, during the launch phase, employees working on the Cherokee lines are on the job for 10 hours, 6 days a week, and in some cases 7 days a week. So it obviously consumes an enormous part of their lives. In fact, I spotted a lot of people at the plant wearing t-shirts that say "Eat, Sleep, and Jeep." Jeep is more than a brand to a lot of people in our region.
If you ask people that work here, hey, where do you work? They work at Jeep. They don't work at Chrysler, right? So there's a lot of pride within Jeep.
Jeep is my life.
It's a way of life and a family tradition. Jeep has been part of Toledo's history for more than 7 decades. They've been building the vehicles here in the Glass City since 1941, providing work for generations of families. In fact, it's not uncommon to find 2 and 3 generations of families who've worked at the Toledo plant. There's even one worker who is the 4th generation Jeeper in his family.
I've been here for just over 20 years. My dad worked here. He was a tool and die maker. His dad, he worked in all different resources as far as paint shop. He was a boss for a little bit, and he was union also. And then my great-grandfather, which I never got to meet, but I was told that he worked building bicycles at the Willys plant before they started building cars.
Yeah, I'm a 3rd generation Jeep employee. My grandmother worked at the old Signy plant, and my dad actually still works here.
It's a family tradition for me to work here. I met my husband here. We have children because of working here, so Jeep's very important to us.
But Jeep is doing more than providing work to generations of families.
This is a big opportunity for me and a lot of other people.
The new Cherokee also means new jobs.
After I graduated, I went to Ohio State to study psychology. With the launch of this new model, it provided opportunities for students like myself to move back to the Toledo area. My family's still in the area, so now I get to raise my children along with nieces and nephews.
Hennessy is one of thousands who've been hired in the last couple years.
We had hired over 2,000 hourly employees here. We've hired 65 salary employees, over 100 skilled trades here, and then we've also hired over 100 jobs as far as part-time.
Plant leaders say the history that ties the workforce and the city to Jeep leads to a deep dedication and a can-do attitude not found everywhere.
We all have our differences. If you throw 4,000 people together, of course you're going to have differences, no different than in your family unit at home. But at the end of the day, we all understand there's a purpose why this place exists. We're here to manufacture. We're here to manufacture a Jeep brand that's very popular. And we set our differences aside and we go forward and accomplish the goals at the end of the day. And there's enough smart people here to work through those differences and figure out what we need to do to come up with a proper resolve for every difficulty that we have.
But even as they move forward, workers can't help but look back at the men and women who laid the foundation here at Jeep.
It's the generations of Jeepers before me that have built this culture, the quality into the brand. They're the reason why I stand here and there's 100 other people standing next to me.
Now, as you've seen, the employees work side by side with thousands of robots. Coming up tomorrow night at 6, we'll show you how those robots have changed the industry and how they're actually helping make it easier on the people at the plant. And quickly, back to those new Jeep jobs at Jeep. They've hired more than 2,000 people, but there are more jobs available. They're looking to fill about 30 salaried positions right now. Get connected to 13abc.com for a link to the Chrysler website. Reporting live, Lisa Guyton, 13ABC Action News.
All this week, we've given you an all-access pass to the Toledo Assembly Complex as our new 13ABC Jeep Cherokee is built.
Really interesting all week long, and tonight you're going to meet some of the robots that help the humans build the SUVs. 13ABC's Lisa Guyton covers the Jeep beat. She joins us live, and Lisa, the automation is really an important part of the equation, right?
It sure is, and it's amazing to see the robots in action. They're able to do a lot of the jobs that are physically difficult for people, like getting into tight places, heavy and awkward lifts, as well as getting up under things. So they're a critical part of the plant and a welcome addition to the lines. There are big robots, little robots, robots that work alone, and robots that work in teams. There are even robots that open doors for each other. Robots are everywhere in the Toledo Assembly Complex.
While there are thousands of people working here at the Toledo Assembly Complex, there are also thousands of robots. In fact, there are about 1,000 of them here in the body shop alone. And the machines have revolutionized the way they build cars.
Everything you see in here used to be done by hand in the old plant.
We have over 960 robots here performing over 4,000 welds to weld the body together. So it's amazing once you see all the robots performing and all the skilled trades and people here working to complete the body. It's just a fantastic feeling.
Engineers say the robots deliver incredible accuracy and quality alongside the workers. On this part of the line, 6 robots inspect the body for flush and gaps with a laser system.
After it takes that measurements, it sends the data downline. The people do a manual adjustment if needed. We track our quality to make sure that everything has been perfectly put together precisely, down to 0.2 of a millimeter, which is the size of a hair, before we ship it over to the paint shop.
The paint shop is where you'll see robots holding doors for each other as they do their work.
We have no painters in the booth. I mean, it's all automated, it's all robots and bells. So much friendlier to the worker, obviously, and for the customer, a much better paint job.
The robots also do a lot of the heavy lifting.
I don't have people trying to handle an awkward 12-foot by 4-foot aperture and damaging it in the middle of handling it. A robot can pick up one part, no damage included, transfer it to another area, and we're handling the part with much more precision and less risk of damaging the part. Not to mention the safety of the employee handling such a component.
And the automation makes some jobs easier.
Previously, the operators would have to work overhead and assemble the parts. Well, with this system, this pallet, we actually set the parts on pins that locates them, and then the bottom of the car actually meets with the top of the car, and it does it all automatically.
So the combination of humans and robots is a winning formula here at the plant.
It takes the whole team, everybody playing their position, doing exactly what they need to do to execute the plan so that you ultimately go and win the Super Bowl. And it's very much the same case with manufacturing.
Now, before any of the Cherokees hit the showroom, they go through a battery of tests. We went along for the ride. Tomorrow night at 6, you'll see the final fit and finish process, and we will show you our very first 13 ABC Jeep Cherokees. Reporting live, Lisa Guyton, 13 ABC Action News.
Another fascinating look. Thank you, Lisa.
We've taken you inside Jeep all week as we watch workers and robots build a new Cherokee from the ground up. Tonight, it's the final leg of the assembly lines and the extensive testing they do before the vehicle is delivered.
13 ABC's Lisa Guyton. Have you heard? She covers the Jeep beat for us. And tonight she has the last installment of our Inside Jeep, the Toledo Tradition Series, and she's live. Lisa, you've covered this plant for many years, but this was really a rare chance for you to get inside.
And I have to say, I look at the Cherokee in a much different way after the experience, knowing the engineering behind the process, the long hours the men and women at Jeep put in, and the incredible loyalty they have to the brand they build. Even if you don't own one, there is a lot for all of us to be proud of at that plant. We've seen the body of the Cherokee come together, and the 12-hour painting process. Now it's on to the assembly line where the final work is done, from tires to seats, steering wheels, and the Cherokee nameplate. It all comes together here on the final assembly line. The assembly line has a number of different sections. Here on the suspension lines, they're installing the parts that help smooth out your ride, like axles and struts.
Everything you see behind me is brand new. The whole, from the conveyor to the parts to the work that we're doing.
And then there's one of the most important parts, the braking system.
Right here is our corner module, which is basically the brake system. And the operators will pick the corner module up with the hoist. They'll install it onto the car, they'll loose install it, just put the nuts on and hand start them. And then as they go down the line, the rest of the operators kind of finish the process.
Chrysler made a lot of changes in the assembly line since it switched from building Liberties to Cherokees. For example, when it comes to putting in the airbags, workers now spend their days in something called the happy seat.
On the old Liberty, when we were doing the airbag install, there was a lot of ergonomic issues. The operators were leaning backwards, trying to put the fasteners in. So we came up with the concept of the happy seat, and we had installed it. So what it does is it puts the work directly in front of the operators. So no longer are they leaning back looking into the car. They go basically right into the vehicle. The work's directly in front of them. The fasteners are all there and the tooling's all right there as well.
And every vehicle that comes down the assembly lines goes through inspections along the way. So this is it. This is our brand new 13 ABC Action News Jeep Cherokee. It has just passed its first electrical test. It's now having some underbody work done on it, including the installation of heating and cooling hoses. And then from here, it's onto a fluid filling station where they'll put in things like gas and brake fluid. And of course, there are some finishing touches for the inside.
This is final line. The vehicle's nearly finished. We're doing the interior parts.
Not long after that, the building process is done. This is it, our 13 ABC Action News brand new Jeep Cherokee. is finished. And if I don't say so myself, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, as you've just seen, this has been an extensive process getting to this end point. In fact, from start to finish, it's taken about a day and a half to build this Cherokee. But the Cherokee still has to go through extensive testing. Of course, some of the most important tests involve the braking and suspension systems. The tests these Cherokees go through are designed to simulate real-world driving experiences. This one is obviously testing how it handles rough road conditions. After this, I'd say our Cherokee can handle any Michigan or Ohio road. They also test the SUVs to make sure they're watertight. This tunnel simulates a storm that is likely more powerful than one you'll ever face on the road. After that test, they check for leaks everywhere.
They're pulling up the floor cargo area, making sure there's no water inside the spare tire area. They're also popping out some of the interior trim panels just to get a look inside.
Workers also go over every inch of the outside of the Cherokee. Then it's on to an indoor road course.
Puts it in a body twist, right? Just some sine waves that cycle the suspension, so if there's any loose fasteners or faulty shocks or springs, we'll pick that up.
Brand new and long-term employees do all this work side by side.
We're going through the new phase of having a lot of new operators in here, and it's really exciting to see them come in and grasp what we're doing and be able to teach them the things that we've learned and have them carry on the tradition and the pride that we've always had with building a #1 vehicle.
And it's a vehicle that's humble beginnings evolved into the technological wonder we showed you this week. Made by third and even fourth generation Jeepers, alongside robots. It may be just a car to those who buy it, but for the people who make it, it's history, it's pride, and it's Toledo. So this is it, the big unveil, the exciting moment. This is one of 2 brand new Jeep Cherokees. We will be driving around the area in the days ahead. They will both hit the road this weekend probably. And I hope you look at them a little differently now that you know what it takes to get to this point. And I want to point out that the men and women at the Toledo Assembly Complex have been recognized time and time again for their work. The Toledo Assembly Complex has the highest ranking of any of Chrysler's North American plants, and it is such a well-deserved honor, as you've seen throughout the week. Reporting live in Toledo, Lisa Gaertner, 13 ABC Action News. Lee and Diane, back to you.
Looks great. Looks great. Fantastic series of reports from Lisa Gaertner.